said to myself, regardless of what happens, I have to let her go first because that's just the right thing to do.
Hey.
What's going on? Hey there, what do you say there, world? It's season 27, episode 8 recap of The Amazing Race. I am Justin. That's Diana. This is Cooper G. Doodle, the co-host of this episode. We also have Jason.
Yeah. He's like, give me a
He's the best dog.
Can I tell you who he is deep down inside?
Oh boy.
He's Pinocchio.
Oh, I like it.
So our other dog, Riley, I didn't know he was a dog. I thought he was a human, and I wasn't a very good mom because that line was blurred for me. But when we got Cooper, I knew in order to be the best dog mom, I needed to realize that he is a dog, and that makes me a better mom. And I said he's like Pinocchio, like deep down inside I know he's a real boy, but he's a dog.
I love it.
That's my girl. Episode 8 starts off with Diana crying on a boat.
Yeah, because you made me feel bad.
Oh my God.
Well, okay, no, I felt bad because I thought that I put us behind.
Yeah, but it wasn't me to make you feel bad.
No.
Come on,
Yeah.
make it seem like I said something.
Diana, I disagree with you on this one. I'm just throwing that out there early. I think he was actually very, very sweet in the scene trying to comfort you.
Yes, he was. But the only reason why I had that much pressure is because of what I felt like I messed up on earlier. I'm not saying that you were blaming me. I was blaming myself for feeling like I put us behind.
I thought this scene was a very sweet moment from Justin.
It is, yes,
That's what I
yes. And I'm
thought.
glad they showed it because you didn't see the resolve from the previous episode. You know, you did see us kissing on the elevator and making up and saying that we were going to come out ahead, but it's because we had that moment on the water taxi on the way back where we smoothed everything over, and we wanted to make sure that we were okay with each other before we moved on, and it worked for us. That's what we do.
So for this leg, we're supposed to use the Travelocity app to book a trip to Krakow, Poland. And we start off at 10:10. Now, this is 10:10 at night, even though there's still a little sun at the time, I think. That's because the sun was just going down at that time. So 10:10 at night, we're booking a flight, and it leaves from Amsterdam. We're in Rotterdam, so all the flights leave like 7 or 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. We get fortunate enough to book the only tickets left on an early flight, and every other team is stuck on the same flight.
What was your reaction when you saw that we were going to Poland?
I was just, at this point, I was really excited just to be in the race, so I could have gone anywhere and be happy. I didn't know fully what to expect in Krakow. Krakow? I said it wrong the whole time. Krakow?
Krakow.
I had no idea what was there. Once I found out what was there by the clues, I was super excited, but I really had no idea what was there.
I think I was excited to stay in Europe, to stay in the area of comfort, I would say, of being in Europe. But the only thing that I know about Poland is Auschwitz was there, and a lot of the war took place there, and Schindler, I knew that.
So the green team left at 10:10, reporters 10:23, cheerleaders 10:24, Texas 11:34, and this is when they were being interviewed, and they were being funny about, you don't know, no matter what you think you know about the race, you don't know nothing about the race.
So funny.
Unless you're Justin.
Justin knows. Justin knows about the race.
Well, here's the thing. By this point, we're like having jokes of like, oh, Justin's already been to the finish line. He's just circling back to race one more time.
I wish I got to see that fun side of you guys. That'd be nice. Paparazzi and Alabama leaves at 12:36. So you were 2 hours and 20 minutes behind the first place team.
Well, what happened is we lost a lot of time at that shipyard. Do you remember? Because every time when you're in a
wait
line,
15 minutes or 5 minutes.
you have to wait like 10, 15 minutes for each person.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking that time was still from Paris, but it's not because we all pretty much caught up on the boat.
Wow. So our clue said to head to Krakow Beach. Now, I got a lot of stuff online where people were saying, how come Justin had... He cheated. He cheated. He knew he was going to have a bathing suit on. It's like it said head to Krakow Beach. So while we're heading to Krakow Beach, the guy who thinks about the game 24 hours a day...
the airplane. You were on the airplane.
But...
I know.
You know, you're heading to a beach, put on a bathing suit. Common sense, people.
Or you just be like us and just go for it.
Oh, that was funny. Once we got there, it was really. There was a big taxi race to Krakow Beach when you guys all jumped into taxis and raced it through. Now, through this episode, the green team is far ahead. So
you're like what, an hour and a half ahead of us?
Yeah, pretty much. At this
like
point.
it's to the point where y'all would have to royally mess up. And I think I said this at some point in the episode in the taxi cab. I'm like, it's a race between 5 teams. I'm pretty sure I said.
Yeah, I think you did.
Because we are so far ahead, like there's nothing we can do to catch y'all. So it's just don't get last.
People would ask us, oh, what's this team like, and what's this team like, and a lot of people ask us what the paparazzi is like, and we joke, but then we seriously say, well, we weren't really with.
We weren't with them much, and when we were big groups in an airport, so you don't get to learn
kind of
too much.
We're in the front a lot, and I hate saying that.
We were everywhere, like every place, so we got to see everybody.
Yeah, lucky you.
Yeah, that's it. You guys made.
I always try to say that without being like.
Yeah, without sounding.
We kind of were in the front the whole time. So.
I mean, you were though. Like there was only we only had glimpses of y'all a lot of times, and it's like during our better legs.
So we have a taxi race to Krakow Beach, and we find out that pom-poms and mini skirts are the Team Texas weakness, but I think we knew that in Buenos Aires. Once everybody gets to the beach, it's a pool. It's like a shipping container that they turned into a pool.
I think it's pretty cool.
It's a really cool thing. They put sand out there, made it a beach, and there was like a bar inside. You can drink. It was really cool.
But it was like floating on a river.
Yeah, it was a beach.
It was awesome.
Floating.
I would love to chill.
Yeah, I know.
So your whole crew pretty much arrived at the same time, and while Chris is taking off his clothes, Logan just jumps right on in. Same thing with like Krista and the whole crew.
Here's the thing: like once one person does it, when you're racing with 5 people, once one person is just like, whatever, I'm in. Like everyone else has no choice but to do that. This one, you can see the clue, and like literally, like if you take the time to like undo everything. And then put everything on.
Whoever the first one in the pool was, you should have said, hey, can you just grab all the rest of ours? Like,
hey, Logan,
why are we all going to get wet when you can you just get mine too?
Well, I don't know.
Justin would want to get his shoes wet.
Oh my God. I was the one who jumped in, by the way.
You took your shoes off and you had your bait. I'm teasing you back to the very first line when you don't want to get your shoes wet.
God, pick on Justin week. Joey.
You wanted me to do that?
Is it true or false that Joey kicked you?
He did, and it hurt.
Does it look like he kicked you in the pool?
No, he did. He didn't mean to. No, like he totally didn't mean to. And we laugh about it, but like,
get away, James Earl.
Like Krista, Joey jumped in, and I'm like jumping in right behind him. And when he grabs and he turns around, he's like going up. He just happens to kick me by accident. But here's the thing: it was so chaotic. Everyone was just like trying to get in and out. So it's funny. It's funny, but I'm glad they showed it because I remember getting hit, but I'm just happy that they showed it.
They got the footage.
They did get the footage. So the choice here, when you rip open the clue, it's a mine or music. Head to a 700-year-old salt mine, grab a wood beam, bring it down the mine shaft, shovel salt into a wheelbarrow, take that wheelbarrow, put it into one of those Indiana Jones mine carts, and then push the mine cart all the way back. Excruciating, back-breaking task, but I think it's the faster task if you can power through it.
They didn't show this, but Phil was there at the beach when we got there after we were running back.
Oh yeah, there was a cut-in that they never showed.
They didn't air it, and he said something like, "Will the green team see the other teams at the detour?"
Yeah, the green team have totally lost track of all the other teams. Will they see the other teams at the detour?
Will they meet them there or something?
Something like
we're
that.
Like, what the hell does? And there was only one brick.
One brick in the pool, so we're like,
okay, is that the last brick or is it the first brick?
It's totally the last brick. Y'all know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. I mean,
she was nervous.
We were confident that we were in the front, but you really never know because we were at the airport and we're like, I thought we were all meeting here, unless they found something different.
And there's music where you had to get a lesson from a violinist to learn the piano part of the song and earn 100 zloty.
$25.
$25 American.
Were y'all scared of collecting the money? Is that why y'all did the mine? Just because the mine sounded tough.
We always, going into it, we always said we would do something physical rather than something that is out of our control. And for us, asking for money or performing or begging for, I didn't want to beg or
Yeah.
I didn't want to beg, and I'm not a good performer. And in our head, we always, one of our rules was we would always do something physical as opposed to something that was out of our control. And that's why when we do the rap over the oysters, that kind of went against our rules because the rap was out of our control. That had a judge, and I would have rather done something. Of course, the oysters had a judge, but something more tangible that you could see than a performance.
That's fair. Because I'm just saying, like, this was Mom and I's, like, ideal, like, detour. Like, the music part, we were so excited when we read this. Because, like, I played piano for 12 years. I've done, like, college band. I've played, like, 4 different instruments.
You're ready for this one.
And I knew Mom could, like, go out there and hustle people and get money, which she did. So, literally, like, as I'm playing, I'm slowing it down. Just like the violinist is trying to go faster. I'm like, nope, we're playing this.
Right. No, you're keeping up with me, boy.
So I'm going to let Mom have as much time to get this as she can. And essentially it works.
Yeah, it looked like you and your mom really got into the whole performing part of it. You had the props with you, the flower, you had the drape, you were dancing and spinning around. Whereas a couple of times it looked like Kelsey was going to reach into the person's wallet and grab the money.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Mom and I figured, like, you need to draw these people in. Like, people, like, if you're having a fun time and acting a fool, someone's going to come give you, like, pity money, at least.
Right. And I think it said perform.
Yeah, it said perform.
It didn't say beg.
Kelsey said she does this as part of her job. She's like, I bug people as part of my job on the streets to get them to do interviews. And then they show her bugging people on the streets to get money. And that was her technique, and it worked really well for her. It showed Krista and Tiffany, who took the, like, pity role. It was like, please help us. Please,
they should have been doing cheers. That's splits and toe touches. I mean, probably in the moment you're tired and you don't think of that. You just think you want to get this done.
I have a couple thoughts. First off, with Krista and Tiffany, they know I love them to death. They are, like, some of my favorite people. This was not a good challenge for them. Mm-hmm. They got a little aggressive with people at times too. Like when Krista was like, "Oh, so you don't have money?
You're lying! How did you pay for that?"
Like, I get that. I mean, I can't imagine being that frustrated because I can imagine if I've been there for a little bit and no one's giving me money, I'll get frustrated. She got a little aggressive, and you're not going to get money that way.
Like they were like two of the most talented people left that can entertain at, like,
I've seen Krista, like, death drops and splits and jumps.
Oh, that's what I mean.
She would have made it like this.
That's what I mean. If they would have performed, it would have come so much easier.
Here's the thing.
They
Krista
probably looked like lunatics.
Like, the girl should have just, like, dragged it up, and she would have gotten the money.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it seemed like everybody was having a really hard time pushing those pianos.
Dude, those things, like, that's one thing they didn't tell you that you were going to do is you'd have to push the piano. And it wasn't, like, all the roads were cobblestone. So, like, you're pushing it on essentially a dolly. It's like a little, like, 4x4 dolly, and it's on the cobblestone, so it's bouncing. And the moment a wheel gets hooked into something, the piano about tips over.
Takes you back to Argentina pushing those horses down the streets. Except the horses were more stable.
Just like that. But the horses weren't heavy. The piano was an actual piano.
Right.
Like, Mom lost toenails on this challenge.
That's why we didn't
Mom lost her toenails?
Like 2 toenails on this challenge.
Oh.
Yeah, and Krista, when they had a rough time pushing the piano as well and dropped it. Lots of problems pushing the piano. So it looked like that the salt mine was the better task to take in hindsight after watching. Unless you did it the way that paparazzi did.
Because let's think about how
they did it really quickly.
I don't feel like you have a good basis for that. Because let's think about this. Like, we're going to remove y'all because you're an hour and a half ahead of us. There's 5 other teams. 3 did the
music.
2 did mine.
Right.
The people that show up to the roadblock first are the 3 that did music.
Yours was closer.
Yeah,
you guys ran.
Because you could have ran from the Krakow Beach.
And
we had to take.
So Mom and I and Chris and Tiffany started to run, and it was like 2 miles. So after like a half a mile, we're like, never mind, didn't a taxi. So you could have, but it was just quicker to find a taxi.
Me and Justin would have argued, and I would have wanted to run.
And no matter what the turnout, she'd have been right.
Ooh. Passive aggressive right there.
Yeah, right? That's what I have to live with.
Oh, come on. Would you stop it?
There's one more thing I want to say about the music challenge. I have to move on. So, Mom and I didn't realize this, but you know the woman that gave us a lot of money?
Yes.
The
So if
little
you go
angel.
back and look at like the promotional pictures, that's when we
Model.
were burning it in the town square. She is standing behind us watching us. So this blessed woman watched us there, followed us all the way down, and gave us essentially like 80% of the money. Like it was 100 zlotys. I'm pretty sure she gave us like, her herself gave us 100 zlotys, but like when we were at 90, she gave us 20 more.
Wow.
Wow.
Who this woman is, but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Try
Thank
to track her down. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if anybody watching this knows that woman or knows anybody who lives in that town who possibly knows that
She's
woman,
beautiful.
you. I know she's gorgeous, like slay, but like
Yeah.
thank you. I just want to thank her so much.
That's
Yeah, she
awesome.
helped a couple teams.
All right, so at the mines, Diana and I we get lost when we got dropped off by the taxi. They don't show it, but Texas also got lost. They got
Yeah.
dropped off
off
at the
the-
wrong entrance, and we ran through this whole huge, like almost amusement park type of place, but it was more like a park. There's a lot of
the
students and
museum grounds,
schools
yeah.
and museums and a lot of people. So you ran really far, and it was very, very backbreaking work. It hurt. I had bruises for.
I was so claustrophobic. Like the no windows and 700 feet down. No, 700 years old.
700 years old.
How far was
It was
it?
a couple 100 feet underground. I don't know. It felt like man's work. Like you felt like you were really doing a day's work.
Feel like a man, Diana. Did you feel like a man that day?
I did.
Chris and Logan.
Oh, God
Did they
bless them.
fill up the wheelbarrow, push it 5 feet, empty the wheelbarrow?
Touched it twice.
Yeah.
Like I worked in a warehouse, and not that you would get in trouble, but you do twice as much work when you have to touch something twice. Yeah.
But even if they can't lift it, let's say like they can't lift it, like at least just like shovel it out of the wheelbarrow and put it into the
Right,
thing.
exactly.
So like to scoop it into the wheelbarrow, push it 5 feet, and then to dump it on the ground and scoop it again, it would be
Yeah.
just as much work just to scoop and walk the shovel over and dump it.
Touched
Pretty
it
much.
twice.
Yeah, I didn't like their style of doing it. Texas went in there and did a really good job. They're both big, strong, so the way they were dumping it into the cart was the best way to do it, but you needed 2 people of strength to be able to work it that way.
Look at them
But
muscles.
yeah, she did a great job.
You're the lacking of this. Yeah, Diana, you needed to pick up your slack.
That's my girl, man. That's my girl. So from there, we head to the Oskar Schindler Museum. And Oskar Schindler, there was nothing to actually do in the museum. You take the tour, and everybody takes the same amount of time. So it's a chance to sit back and reflect.
Sorry, I have an itch.
Oh, I thought you were tapping me. It was a chance to reflect on
Just
what
life.
had happened in life and the fact that, this person saved over 1,200 Jews, and those 1,200 Jews are going to have kids, and their kids are going to have kids. So, like, he literally saved millions of lives in the long run. And it's a
it was
chance.
really cool moment just to slow down because you knew everyone had to do it. So
Right.
you weren't trying to rush. You're like, let me just enjoy this. I will say, though, that one room where it was his actual office, the floor was so creaky.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
was trying to be so quiet, but it was so. Oh,
Like, even like if you would just do the gentlest shift, you'd be like,
I know. I know.
You're
I
not
remember
sneaking
that.
up on anybody in that room.
I know, but going to places like that when they make you stop and take those breaks, it's those moments of the race that you really enjoy, and it brings me back to this season. You guys can quote me, I'm sure, when they're in Africa and they stop at that port right before they would take slaves and sail across to America, and they had to stop and reflect and throw the flowers out of that window or lay them on the windowsill, and you forget that you're racing and you have to reflect, and when not have to reflect, you do reflect on where you are and how you came to be. So I really enjoy those moments of the race when they do that.
I'm not remembering this moment at all from the race.
Really?
No, this was in South Africa, and it was. I remember there was like an FBI or CIA dad and daughter.
Yeah, the black
It was
guy.
he had glasses. He was really overweight.
This was
And
season like
it
4
was
or
early.
something.
Yeah.
I don't
And he
remember
was
this at all.
crying. And they all went into they went into the cell where Mandela.
Nelson Mandela, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a great episode. I mean, those are the great parts of what makes the race. Like, it's the beautiful scenery, it's traveling the world, and it's getting an appreciation for other cultures and getting an appreciation for history. And this gives you a chance to do that. So every team takes their time, gets through it in the order that they arrive there, because there's
I wanted to read every single sign, but you can't.
Yeah.
When I go to museums, I love looking at everything. And I'm just kind of, you have to do one of these. Oh my gosh, that was to read.
Question for you, Justin, as a super fan, because this is one of the things I struggled with during the race, is when, actually, God, this is going to sound so shady, and I don't mean it to sound shady, okay? I just, as I'm answering this, I remembered something from the future.
Go for it.
I'm sorry. I promise you this was not meant to be shady.
I'll stop it.
When do you keep your taxi and when do you let it go? Because, like, for this one, when we get there, Mom and I, we let our taxi go for, like, I don't know how long we're going to be in this museum. And money is, like, a limited resource. So how did y'all decide? Because I think y'all kept your taxi at this point.
I don't remember keeping our taxi.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
For us, when we went to places that we knew were busy, we didn't feel that we needed to keep a taxi. When we went to places that we knew weren't going to be busy, like sometimes, like you
like
go to
the gorge in Africa. I mean,
you're not going to let your taxi go.
It was yeah.
Everywhere in Paris, we let them go because we knew that there's taxis and everywhere, every other place. But in Paris, in Poland, I don't think we kept our taxi anywhere.
Okay, maybe it was Joey and Kelsey that kept it, because after we finished this, Mom and I had to run like a mile to find another taxi.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? That's like a touristy area.
We couldn't find any taxis at that point when we left.
It was the green team, the reporters, Alabama got there third, followed by the cheerleaders, and Texas leaving the Schindler factory, and we all heading to the roadblock. Who can handle a big order? I used to be a waiter, so it was pretty easy for me to select that one. You have to identify 7 dishes without taking any notes and deliver it to a party at the Clemser House. The green team got there first. I decided to do it, and my strategy for this was to find the place that I was going to deliver it to first, so I didn't have to look for it while carrying this huge tray, and then find another Jewish restaurant, talk to a waiter to see what ingredients was in all of the dishes. So that was my strategy. You kind of had a similar strategy, but I think you used the Google.
I used the Google. Because here's my strategy is I wanted a phone. So I literally walked down to like the square and I'm yelling, anyone have an iPhone? Does anyone have an iPhone? And I just kept yelling it until someone answered.
Some people commented, I remember on the Facebook groups when this episode came out, how they finally saw Justin's mindset the entire time. After you read the clue, you went to, okay, where's my final destination? Where do I have to take this? And then went backwards to ask the people in the restaurant what this looked like, and then went back to, like you looked at the foods, you looked at where you had to go, you got information on what it looked like and what the food makeup was, went back, got your food, and knew exactly where you had to go.
Because one of our 10 commandments, which they never showed on the race, but we'll do a whole podcast about those, the 10 commandments. One of them is do it right the first time.
It was Amazing Race 6.
Take your time and do it right the first time.
Sorry. Amazing Race 6, James Earl.
Is that when they did it? Okay. I don't know why for the life of me I couldn't remember that.
They stopped to the door of no return is what
That's
it was called.
What it was called, the door of no return. It's where all the slaves passed through before they were sent to the States.
It's one that I definitely watched to prepare. Might have been in original casting lock
while
and
we were
week,
waiting,
right?
yeah, that week.
Because I hadn't watched any of those beginning ones.
See, I told Mom not to watch the beginning ones just because from like season, essentially, I think like 15 on, it's a whole different race than the first 10 seasons.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And then after we watched that one, then I wanted to watch the Boston Rob and Amber, and then we wanted to watch season 6 because that had Iceland, and we had just come from Iceland. So,
and one of the funniest scenes of this episode is where Logan and Chris are fighting about who's going to do this roadblock. And if you haven't seen the bonus scenes on this, check out our Facebook page right here, and you need to watch the bonus scene of the ripping of the clue and deciding who it is that's going to be doing the clue between Logan and Chris, because Logan has been doing this for years. Okay,
I love that sash. It's like it doesn't take much to just do this. race, and I loved it.
All the girls were doing it. I saw all the girls doing it.
And Chris is like, "You're gonna ruin it because next is gonna be something that I can't do." I'm like, God, have some faith in yourself, bro. But,
Honestly, there's like a hidden compliment in there for Logan. It's like, you can do everything. I can't do everything.
Right.
yeah, pretty much.
I just love, because it reminds me of when Logan was looking at the painting. She was like, nope, this isn't it. And now she's with
She's
the
so
tray.
animated.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I love
And
she's,
slams the clue.
yeah, she's great.
Fine.
No, I used to do this.
No,
for a living.
Logan, you
I saw
done
the girls.
2 in a row.
I can do it so good.
This will put you up too many. This will put you up too many.
I don't agree. I disagree completely.
Fine.
It worked.
All right, so who made the decision when you and Kelsey teaming up? It seemed like on the episode that Kelsey brought it up and you just went along with it.
What happened was I can't remember all the details. The one thing I do remember, you can tell Mom and I have been struggling in the batch, because when I see Kelsey, you have no idea where you place. So like I see Kelsey and ask her, I'm like, are you and I fighting for last? Like I just want to know. Like, so like, no, I think we're fighting for second. Like, because they're used to be in the front. Now Mom and I are used to be in the back. So that's when, like, I think she's gone once or twice. I don't remember how many times. And that's when she's like, just want to work together, knock this out. And I was like, yeah, let's do this unless you just get it done. Because really,
so how many times did you try it before getting it right?
I got it on the first time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was joint help. Like Kelsey and I essentially had half of them figured out. So we combined
so
the two.
together you
The
figured
only thing knew was the gefilte fish. But like once you know everything else, the gefilte fish is the only thing left.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the only one that really stinks.
Was that ball thing?
It's like the jelly-looking ball.
White ball thing. You could see me like sniffing and be like, this smells like
this is fish.
Yeah, my grandfather used to love that. Here's it's when we see some character. There's a lot of character being shown here with the Texas boys, and it definitely changed how I looked at them. Because there's a lot of times in the race when you can see like jockey, like meatheady type, behaviors from them. And then there's times that you could see that generous Southern boy with the Southern charm. But this is where true character comes out, because I don't know if I would have done.
No, I know you wouldn't have done this.
I'm just trying to
He
say.
would have grabbed my hand and pulled me like through people and like made me burst through. That's how not chivalrous she would have been about it. But you could tell that they forgot about the race and it was more about life, and that was touching to see, because like you said, who would do that in the race? One
of the most chivalrous things or generous things I've ever seen in the history of the race. What do you think about this, James?
So here's my feelings, and no matter what I say, it's going to end up making someone mad, but these are my feelings.
Get it.
Nobody can deny those.
I think Josh and Tanner did the respectable thing, because I don't know if the episode really displayed this well. They showed up much, much later than Tiffany. Tiffany's done this like 4 or 5 times, getting this worked out, and essentially gives Josh the answers, like she does. So as they're going, Josh does the respectable thing of letting her go first. What bit them, and what I think they couldn't have known to expect, is that the pit stop is at the place that they're at. I think in his mindset, he's going, you know what? I'm going to let her get this clue first. She gave me this answer. I really respect this, but we're going to beat them to the pit stop. Right. I think that was Josh's mindset. But Krista and Tanner sitting there know that the pit stop's right inside. So you have because you remember,
oh, that's right.
This Justin, because no one else was around. Like, the 2 people sitting there knows what's up, but the 2 people walking back and forth have no idea.
Right, and you can't tell them.
Yeah, and you can't tell them. So I think that's what happened, and I respect Josh for that decision. I think that is what eventually did them in, though.
For sure, 100%. And
even after, so I can't fault that. I'm not faulting them. I think it's just a situation where they thought they'd have more time and they didn't.
And I think they still could have tried to run him down in the hallway, because I think they realized it in the hallway.
In the hallway, and then you see that moment of hesitation that, like, Tanner almost starts to run and then stops and then realizes that that's the pit stop. And it's
heartbreaking.
You could feel their heart sinking. And if we can go to who I'm putting in check,
All right, Diana, who's going to be put in check in this episode?
I think it has to be Logan, because maybe just Logan and Chris, because they argued so much about the roadblock. And Chris didn't trust her, and then she wanted to do it, and then he wanted to do it. I love how they argue about, no, I'm going to do it. No, let me do it. No, let me do it. Fine, you do it. No, you do it. That's what they were just arguing about. So
this goes back to what I said, our discussion last episode. Sorry to interrupt you. You need strong decisions. Like, I don't care. Like, and this is what I told Mom. Like, after the first couple of leads, and I told her this. Like, just make strong decisions, and I won't fault you. Like, what I'm going to fault you is with you're like, man, I don't really care. You just make the decision, because like that passiveness doesn't win, doesn't do well.
So you wouldn't be mad at Mom if Mom say made a wrong decision, as long as she, like, if she said something and went with it, and you trusted her and followed her, and it ended up being the wrong decision, then you wouldn't have faulted her for that. You would have appreciated the fact more that she stuck to her guns. She made a decision. It just happened to not be the one to advance us. Would that be a fair statement?
I feel like I would. I know that like goes a little bit against the train because I see Justin smirking, but I was just mad at him.
No, she's talking about Rotterdam right now.
Oh,
she's not talking about you at all.
Duh.
She's talking about 100% Rotterdam. She has
no. Like, I would not be mad about that. Me personally, as a racer, like I would rather strong decisions than waffle decisions.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I would rather be have you say yes or no and then it not work out, than to have, you have said nothing and then been like, oh, I can't believe we didn't do, and then, well, you didn't make a decision. You didn't say anything in the moment. But yeah, I'm going back to Rotterdam. I'm just trying to prove another point.
I know what she's trying to do.
So,
but we'll see how that turns around and bites her in a couple episodes from now.
let's wait for the comments.
I love you. Just know that. And I'm going to comment that in below. I'm going to write that because I love you. So the green team wins their third in a row. They're heading off to Shanghai, China, followed by the reporters in Alabama. Is there anything from the mat that we may not have seen that you want to divulge?
You talking about the U-turn?
I don't know. Yeah, because Phil does let us know that there is a U-turn ahead, and I'm sure that he talks
really
to you guys
pushy about it again.
Because he's
pushy about it again. Here's the thing, like, y'all are mad racers. Y'all are like super awesome racers, and you cannot tell me if the tables were turned. Let's flip the tables and
100%. He
right?
just loves hearing people talk about how great he is.
No, stop it. Everybody would. Why? I mean, nobody. Well, whatever.
Like, here's the thing: if we had the opportunity to U-turn you, we would have.
100%. I don't know that I wouldn't have U-turned us if we were racing against us.
At one point in time, I'm pretty sure we joked too. We're like, yeah, Justin's just trying to U-turn himself just to be able to do the other U-turn. And still
Yeah. Oh,
I just want to experience both
that
sides.
was
Of
a
the
great comment. I forgot somebody said that.
Yeah, my favorite comment of the whole year was Tanner's. Was when he was like, I think the green team's using performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, I think the green team needs to be tested for performance enhancing drugs.
Can I tell you my clap of the episode?
Yes, the James Earl Seal clap of the episode.
My Seal clap goes to Josh and Tanner for this episode.
100%.
It makes me so happy this episode because, like, people gave them smack, but they are such good people with great hearts, and this shows it. Like, they took one for the team this episode, and they did what was right.
Right.
It sucks.
I rewarded them in the next episode because
I wouldn't have done that. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be like, oh, I would have done that. I would not have done that as me. But they are just awesome people.
The worst part I was thinking is, Tanner and Krista are sitting there and they know whoever comes up next and gets it right is going through. And Krista says it as soon as Tiffany gets it. She says something about, like, this is it, or this is the end, or something to the effect of, no, the pit stop's in here. I mean, she knew, and you could tell the second that they step foot on that mat that they know what that meant. And that is the hardest thing to watch because you could really see almost the race be put aside and their friendship be put right there on the mat.
And good news.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yes, they get the seal clap. So what happens is Green team wins. Reporters are followed by Alabama, paparazzi, cheerleaders, and Texas finishes in last. And just when they think they're going home, they're told it's a continuation leg and the party begins. Lots of cheers, lots of crying and hugs and kissing. And
But a speed bump and a U-turn ahead on the next leg.
they're also informed that there is a U-turn ahead.
And Josh says, did you hear what Josh said? Who would want to U-turn us?
I mean,
Not me.
not you, not us.
Actually,
Well, we'll
no.
get into that. Really.
Actually, from the when I don't know if they showed us in the bonus footage, but he did ask us on the mat, and he's like, "Do you have U-turn?" I said, "Bye, Tanner and Josh," because we were 100% going to U-turn Tanner and Josh if we got to the U-turn mat first, until we heard what they did.
I want to say we. He means he. He would have probably talked me into it.
What? You wouldn't have wanted to U-turn them?
No, they were at the bottom. Why would you U-turn somebody that's at the bottom?
That's when you U-turn people. You don't U-turn people at the top because they don't go home.
I wasn't scared of Tanner and Josh,
I wasn't scared of anybody.
so that's why we.
Oh.
We'll get into that next recap, next episode. I never wanted to U-turn at anybody unless it was me and them at the bottom, and
No,
it was
here's
do
the
or
thing.
die.
Like, people give so much smack to the U-turn. It is a part of the game. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
like I understand. Like, maybe you don't want to use it the first time, but like, here's my thing. As players, if it's let's say it's a blind U-turn board, like there is no reason.
Oh yeah. We.
You play it. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
If you go up to a blind U-turn board, you better be playing it. Those first two teams should play it, or I'm judging you.
Yeah.
Side note for future racers, the blind U-turn doesn't count towards your U-turns. So anybody can use a blind U-turn, no matter if you used the U-turn already or not. So blind U-turns, always use them. There's nothing to use, nothing to lose.
Yeah. So like people online hate when the U-turn's used. I'm not one of those people. I think it should be used. But if you want to save it for later, I did that. But like, use it.
What else? Any overall thoughts of the episode? Overall thoughts of the episode?
I would have liked to have seen a little more of the Polish landscape. Actually, I feel like we did when we were. Did we take a train somewhere? No.
We didn't take a train anywhere.
No, I'm thinking
Not in
of
Poland.
France. I'm thinking of France.
James Earl, overall thoughts of the episode?
I thought it was a B episode, like a B+ B episode. Like it wasn't something spectacular, but it wasn't a train.
Of the 12 episodes of the season, it's near the bottom.
I would say middle. Like we're talking like middle of the pack.
Okay.
Like it's not like a train wreck of an episode. Wasn't the best of lead designs. I think I don't know. I'm kind of meh about this episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wish that we could have seen more of what Poland had to offer. I liked being able to experience the museum, and I liked being able to experience the Jewish culture there in a way. That is the experience that they're choosing to share with us about Poland. But I wanted to see more of Polish landscape, I guess. I like seeing visual things.
Yeah. The other thing I really like when an episode has, and this one had neither, is when there's people fighting for first. Like when you have people like clawing for first and you have people clawing for last. I think that makes for a really good episode. And this one, unfortunately, had neither.
Right.
Right. Oh, and my super fan move of the episode, I don't want to give it to myself, but I would have. But for this episode, I've actually...
You deserve it. Give it to yourself.
Like, he's secretly deep down like, well, I would have given myself this, but since I can't, I'm going to give it to somebody else.
You deserve to give yourself. I've given myself the claps.
You've given your mom the clap? What did you just say?
Ew. No.
You said you've given my mom and myself the clap.
The seal clap.
The still clap.
I know.
He
It's a
knows.
joke.
Oh, Justin.
I'm going to give it to the reporters for actually going across the street while everybody's fighting for a cab, a taxi. They go across the street, get a taxi, and get the lead and get to the roadblock first.
Can we superfan them for their whistle? Didn't they have a whistle?
They did have a whistle, a rape whistle.
And that's what got them the cab.
Is it? You think that whistle got it for them?
I'm going to go with yes.
All right. Well, there you go. Bonus for
set them
Superfan
apart.
Packing.
It set them apart from everybody else. So I'm going with the whistle was the winner.
And the reason that Texas was in last place was
No whistle.
because of a cab. They
No
were the
whistle.
last team to get a cab out of there. They didn't have a whistle. So Superfan move is going to go to the reporters for having the whistle, tracking down a cab across the street.
And never giving up on the race. Like, they
Yeah.
were always racing.
So good on you guys. I thought it was an okay episode. I wish that there was a couple teams competing directly with the salt mines. I think that would have made it really intense to see people like pushing it and going all out at it. I liked the music episode, the music part of it. I hate the begging part of it. I wish it was more kind of learn the music, bring the piano to a certain place and then learn the music. And if not, you got to push the piano back, make it like a kind of a thing like that more than beg for money.
Get money.
I hate those begging for money tasks.
Especially being an American.
Yeah. So there was goods and bads in the episode, but I did enjoy Poland as a country for sure. So that's going to do it for season 27, episode 8. We really appreciate you joining us. Please leave your comments below. Please help with the debate between Diana and I. You could still comment on that below. Even though it was last episode, you can continue to comment here. Click likes, thumbs up, subscribes. We'd really appreciate it. But most importantly for us, we would really love you to become a patron. So please, the link is below, patreon.com. You can get some cool stuff. There you go. You can get some cool stuff and help us out along the way. We also got to our social media tags are at the bottom. I am Justin Classic 1. She is
Lady Classic or Lady Classic 1.
And
I'm J.E. Corley.
J.E. Corley.
Until next time.
Hey there. What do you say?
Bye.